So today on the First Time Storytelling broadcast, my guest is Annie Schusler. Annie is a business coach and the host of the podcast Rebel Therapist. Annie's here to share the story of the first time she asked a woman out. Welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you so much, Anne.
So happy to have you here. So let's go ahead and let's frame your story a little bit for everyone. And where are you taking us in your life for this event and what was happening before it actually took place?
Okay. I am in Santa Cruz, California, and I'm 21 years old. And I have, I've just finished college and I moved to Santa Cruz. And I had dated women before and I had dated men before. But what had always happened in the past was that I would be in a friendship with someone and then it would turn romantic.
It's a
And
good way to go.
it's a great way to go. But I was I had broken up with my girlfriend, or actually she had broken up with me. So I was single. I'd been single for a few months and I wanted to date women. I did have a crush on this woman who's the person in the story with me. And I didn't want to do it that same old way. I didn't want to do it the same old way of just kind of like waiting for things to happen. I wanted to date this woman and I didn't want to wait for her to ask me out. And I didn't want to wait for us to become good friends and then see what would happen. So I was incredibly nervous about it, but I wanted to ask this person on a date. Is that enough framing or
Yeah,
what's missing?
absolutely. That's
Okay.
awesome. Okay, I'm like, okay. So what happened?
Okay, so my best friend and partner in crime, Sarah, and I, we were housemates in a big house of women in Santa Cruz. And we were just kind of sharing everything in life together. She was like my partner in crime. And so she knew everything about how I had a crush on this woman and how I wanted to ask this woman out and how I was so nervous about it. And so Sarah was acquaintances with this woman. And she was encouraging me, of course, like, yes, of course you have to ask her out. Of course she's going to say yes. You're so cute. You're so great. Of course it's going to all work out. And I was so nervous that I asked her to come with me. And I knew where my crush worked. And I didn't know when she worked, but I knew where she worked. And so we together headed to the mall where my crush worked. She worked at Kinko's. And so I just hoped she's going to be there when I get there. And so Sarah and I, jumped in her car, drove to the mall, and she had me all pumped up and ready to go. And we walked in. And yes, my crush is there. And I feel like, just like I actually feel now remembering it, I feel really sweaty and like sick to my stomach and a little bit excited, but mostly kind of like I want to barf. And we just wait in line at Kinko's like everybody else, except that we have no paperwork to take care of. We have no copies to make. We're just there to see my crush and for Sarah to watch me ask her on a date.
There are people behind you that are gonna like hear the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and there are a lot of coworkers who are going to hear the whole thing. So I get up to the front. It's our turn. And she's very friendly, my crush. I mean, that's why I had a crush on her. She's very friendly, funny. And so she's like, oh, hey, Sarah. And hey, what's your name again? And then, and I'm like, I'm Annie. And then I say, I'm actually here. I don't have any copies to make or anything. I'm actually here to ask you out on a date. I just like blurted out just like that. And she like looks around, like looks to her right, looks to her left, like just to see like, is this really happening? and and then I believe that she said, "Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Okay, sure." Just very caught off guard. And and then that was pretty much the end of the conversation. Like, well, thanks for coming in today, you two. And then Sarah and I just like walked out. And then I just kind of like jumped once we were out of earshot and eye shot. I just like kind of jumped up and down with excitement about what I had just done. And I just had the best feeling in the world of like, I can do anything. Like, I just put myself out there to be rejected or to be accepted. And I just felt so like elated and powerful. And it's not like I was so elated because my crush was going to go on a date with me. Like, I really had no idea whether she was interested in dating me at that point, or whether she was just saying yes because she didn't want to humiliate me in front of the entire Kinko store. I just felt so proud of myself for asking her. And then should I tell you what happened with the crush?
Yes, of
Okay.
course, because you can't just leave us hanging.
Because for me, like, that's the whole point of the story is like, I did it.
Which is awesome because because it is well, we'll pause here a little bit
Yeah,
because it is amazing. To be honest, like because I'm trying to think if I ever been in that situation. I think like really quick, I might have asked somebody out, and as I got older, it certainly got easier. But as a woman who dates men, then you're always waiting, and then it's a whole other mixture. But you were really in the situation where, man, I might be facing rejection. I don't know what I'm walking into, but
yes.
I'm doing it. And I don't know. I'm thinking, would I have chosen a less public place? That's super ballsy that she went into her workplace, and very smart to have a support there with you. And then, yeah, the elation of I did it. I was scared beyond, anything else I've ever done, but I did it. And I do think that even if she said no, that overriding feeling would have been like, you would have been disappointed, but you were like, but you know what? I didn't die. I didn't stop
Yes.
breathing. Nothing fell on me. I can do this.
Right. And my friend Sarah still loves me. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah. This is just, so that's incredible. So,
Yes.
okay. So what happened next?
So my crush and I went out to brunch. So we
So hang
walked.
on, because did you
Yes.
have her phone number already? Now you've asked her out.
Yeah,
You've
I got
called
her
her
phone
to
number.
confirm the date. So now you're taking the lead.
Yeah. So then I got her phone number, called her. I believe this was very pre-texting. And we went out to brunch. We had a nice brunch together. And then over the next few months, what happened was we went on a number of brunches or walks or tea or coffee dates. And then finally, I kind of had to ask again, like, so are we
Mm.
dating now, or are we just friends? And then
Ew.
so once again, I had to kind of like
So
really,
you're trying to break the pattern. You're trying to get a different kind of start, and you ended up back in your former pattern.
yeah.
Interesting.
And so she said, okay, wow, I'm so flattered that you have a crush on me. And I don't feel the same way, but I'm just so incredibly flattered. And I do still want to be friends. So super disappointing and super clear. And I really appreciated that. So, of course, I got to go home after that one and cry with my friend Sarah about it. And to feel like eventually I got to have the feeling of okay, I found out. Like I really found out without just dragging this out for more and more months and more coffee dates.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
it's, in that way, it's not the best outcome. But for me, like all these years later, it is the best outcome. And in fact, I didn't think of this before when I chose this story, but the way that I started dating my wife was that I asked her out. And so it started an ability and a pattern for me of if I'm interested in someone, I can I can go after that. I can ask them. I can find out where it's going to lead, and I know that even if I have a big crush and they don't, it's not going to kill me. It's going to be okay.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. And so I love the fact that you're growing into yourself. You know, it's very clear in that
Mhm.
story, like you're growing to yourself and you're becoming a lot more intentional with what you want. And if I'm going to be intentional with what I want, then I have to take actions on it.
Yes.
So it was the first asking her out. You go on a date, and then you have the expectation. I'm on a date. There should be some chemistry. There should be some fireworks. So there should be things that are happening, and I'm going to friend zone. I know what this looks like.
Totally.
So
Absolutely.
let me make sure, let me communicate what's happening because this is not what I want. Okay. And the other party is being honest and not stringing you along. So that's nice too.
Yes.
So we detach, like, hey, or is that what happened? Is she still a friend? Or was like, okay, I have enough friends. I'm looking for more.
I think it was a little bit of the like, I have enough friends. And then also for on my side, because I had a crush and felt a little rejected, it was like, this isn't
Yeah.
really the friendship I want right now.
And
Even
yeah.
though like she was so cool, I probably, if I were back in that situation with the thicker skin I have now, I'd be like, well, you're an awesome friend. Let's keep hanging out. You make me laugh. But at that time, I was not, I didn't have a thick enough skin for that.
Yeah. I mean, you're 21 years old.
I
It's
was
not a whole
21. I
lot.
was a baby.
And this was your, yeah. I mean, I find it incredible that people will continue to be friends with people that they have, so many more emotions for, because
Yes.
that can be a source of pain. So it makes sense to like, okay, I'm not going to put myself in that kind of pain. Like I need to keep moving.
Yes.
And then but that gave you it gave you like all the proper confidence and understanding of this process, and it's not the end of the world, and I can do this again, and you obviously did, and you found your wife, so
That's
yay.
right. Yeah. And it feels like it kind of marks for me a step into adulthood in a certain way.
Mm,
Like when I look back on that me at 21, I mean, I continued to be a baby for many years in many ways, but I do see it as like stepping a foot into adulthood where I was taking responsibility for what I wanted and asking
mm,
for it. And I think that for me, that didn't happen very much until I was an adult.
yeah. Well, that's when we do one thing in one area in our lives, it seeps through and transfers to other area of our lives. Because if I'm able to ask for what I want here, let me ask for what I want at work. Let me ask for what I
Yes.
want for my family, for my other friends, and finding your voice, finding who you are, and establishing that person. That's definitely part of growing up, and it happens at different age for different people. For some people, quite frankly, they're they're well into adulthood and they still don't know how to communicate and ask for what they want.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think knowing what you want, getting a sense of letting your desire and, well, letting my desires lead me is really important instead of waiting to see who's going to choose me and what's going to happen to me. There's some of that that's got to happen, that we got to go with the flow, but also I want to choose. I don't want to just sit and wait to see what's going to happen to me.
And I love it. And I love how that first time is something that you can a story that you can recount, that you can tell, you can and I love how you said as you're retelling the story because you're reliving it, so those emotions come back to the surface.
It's so weird. And yeah, because as I start the part where I walk into Kinko's, I really felt it. And now, having told how it all ended up, I feel fine. I feel calm again. And it's so weird that that still happens decades later. I'm 48 now. So this is a little bit ago.
That's the power of the events and the memories and recollecting those,
Yeah.
that they provide us, is that you do get to relive it. And because you relived it, like I felt like I was right there. I've never had an experience like that. But when you're a good storyteller and you really share, like I was right there with you. And I was like, oh my God, this is nerve-wracking. What's gonna happen? What is she gonna say? So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Before we get to the first time lightning round, why don't you go ahead and tell people how they can find you, get in touch with you, and the type of services you offer.
Okay, great. I have a podcast called Rebel Therapist, and that's where I share stories about healers and therapists and coaches who have created businesses beyond a traditional private practice. And these are innovators and visionaries. And I just bring out their stories and what's worked for them in creating their businesses. And I help people just like that to create innovative businesses. So you can find my stuff and my programs at rebeltherapist.me.
All right, fabulous. And we will include the link to your website in the show notes when this gets posted to YouTube. Okay, so it is now time for the first time lightning round. So what is going to happen is I'm going to ask Annie 10 different first time options. If it's something she's done before, she's going to swipe up, she's going to say up. So this is similar to if she was on the 365 First Challenge app. Something she's never done, not interested, then we go left. Something she's never done, would like to do, then we go right, and it gets added to Annie's list. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, first one, go antique shopping.
Right.
All right, we're
Oh,
adding it.
I'm sorry. I messed up already. I've done it. I want to do it again, but it still goes up, right?
It goes up.
Okay,
Yeah.
up.
Well, and then you get to tell us, what was your first antique shopping experience like?
I went in Portland. I didn't live there, but I went to Portland with my sister and we went to Bybee Street and had such a fantastic time. And I bought stuff for my first apartment.
Oh, very nice. Okay, next one, ride a yak. The animal.
Right.
Right, adding it to the list. But something difficult to get to do, not impossible.
I'm in.
Like, you first have to find a yak you can ride. Okay, next one, go to the opera.
Up.
Done that before. What was your first opera like?
I went as a kid and I remember I must have been about 12. And I remember again, I was with my sister. And afterward, we were walking through the streets singing about everything and embarrassing our parents, which was what we always did. And I remember them telling us to, be quiet. Not everybody in the city wants to hear this. But we disagreed.
That's awesome. Okay, next one, get teeth whitened.
Up.
Uh,
I've done it just like with a kit at home,
like, okay.
but I'm not, yeah, I'm underwhelmed.
It was not like in the commercials.
Right.
Big difference. Okay, next one, buy a house.
Done. Up.
Up.
I bought my first house in Santa Cruz and it was absolutely an incredible opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I own my home now.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Drive across the US.
Up.
Oh, done that. Was your first trip across.
The first trip across that I remember was my family moved. I mean, it's not all the way across, so I don't know if this counts, but we moved from the Boston area to the Chicago area when I was 10, and we did it as a road trip.
Okay, yeah, we gotta go a little further for it to count. That's
Oh, we
like,
got to go all the way
we gotta
across.
go. We gotta go coast to coast.
Okay, then let's say right.
All
I want
right,
to.
all right. Okay, although I understand that driving as a kid, driving from Boston to Chicago could feel like you've driven the entire country. Next one is make jewelry.
Done. Up.
Done. Up.
Yeah, I went through a phase of making necklaces and earrings for my friends.
Oh, very neat. What would you make them out of?
Just beads and wire.
Okay. They well received?
They were. I don't know that they would be now. Everybody's taste kind of continues to evolve, but it was fun at the time.
Awesome. Okay, next one, tap dance.
I'm going to go left on that.
Left. Okay, never tap dance as a kid and not adding it to the list.
I love to watch it, but not for me.
Okay, sponsor a child. So, like in another country, like doing the monthly sponsorship.
I'm going to go left. I think I would rather give to the whole community. I'm not against it. I'm just saying that's my personal
Preference.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is take a Tai Chi class.
Done.
Done.
Yeah. I just did when I was at a family camp. I did a Tai Chi class a couple of times. And it was beautiful.
Oh, very neat. Okay. So that concludes the first time at lightning round. Then the
Woo.
final question. The final question is how have you been making the best out of the current situation with the pandemic?
I have been having a lot of fun with my 11-year-old, and I wake up in the morning sometimes really grateful for him because together we need to make adventures. Sometimes we need to make adventures inside, especially with the air quality in California. And he is just full of joy and curiosity and boredom, which makes me then have to come up with things to do.
All right. So it's kept you busy, but I think again, there's different ways everyone can look at this, but to be able to have that quality time and that much time with the people that matter to you and to create bonds and memories, you know, there's different ways. There are going to be different ways to look back on 2020. And certainly you want to focus on the positive. And yes, living in California, you all are dealing with a whole other um, you know, horrible situation on top of a horrible situation. But, in the house, the people that you love, what is happening there and what can be treasured and making those memories and ensuring that he will look back and know like what a great time he had playing with his mom.
Yeah, I want him to look back and feel loved and to feel some kind of internal safety, even if there isn't external safety. I want him to have like a place inside that he can return to and feel safe.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And that's a wonderful knowledge for a child to have as he or she grows up and that understand that there's a place I can go back to where it is safe. I understand there is safety that can be had no matter what is happening. So great lesson for a child to learn. Okay, well, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. I really enjoyed your story, learning about you, and this was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, Anne, for this process and kind of helping me look back at what felt like kind of a funny story and really gather the meaning from it. I really appreciate this.
Awesome. Well, thank you.